So you want to be a dungeon master?
So, you want a dungeon master.
So you want to be a DM?
Name some feats, okay? Feats.
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're breaking out the tools. We're making a cup of tea. We're putting on some lo-fi tunes because we're crafting, gang. We're crafting. We're going to go over how to craft in Dungeons and Dragons 5.5 or 2024, whatever they're calling it. What checks are used? What materials do you need? How long is this going to take? Well, we're going over all of it. Spoilers, we're probably going to have to fix some stuff because it's crafting in D&D, right? So let's get into it. But first, Taylor, how do we feel about crafting in games personally? So I guess the real question, how do you feel about crafting in games? Now, notice I just said games. I'm not specifying this as a tabletop role-playing game. How do you feel about crafting in games?
Generally,
Mechanics
I like it
and stuff, like all of it. How do you feel?
Generally, I'm a fan of crafting in a lot of different contexts. I mean, I'm a big Minecraft nerd. Crafting's a big part of that. It's in the goddamn name. But also, pretty much, I mean, all survival craft games are about the same kind of deal. Go out, find materials, bring it back, make stuff. Go out, find materials.
True.
Bring it back, make stuff. So
there is that game that you've been playing recently. I forget the name of it, but you were showing me your base and how you have
Satisfactory. Yeah. That's also
also
crafting. Yeah, and you can automate the crafting bit, and that's fun. I think crafting
is there a crafting system in a game that you were like, I don't like this? You're like, I've seen crafting in ways that I like. This is not one of them. Or for most of the part, you're up for the experience. Because like, let me tell you where I'm coming from a little bit. Is like, I remember like when I was younger, Super Nintendo, for some reason, one reason or another, like a lot of Zelda games missed me. So when I picked it up later in life, and I know that this wasn't even really a feature of the early games, like Breath of the Wild, ton of crafting. You're cooking foods. You got to put spicy peppers so you can withstand the winter. You got to rebuild your weapons over and over, or find weapons or whatever, because weapons are breaking. There's so many things you're crafting. There were times where like certain things were a little annoying. It was a little annoying to have to like sit and camp and like cook a bunch of meals to set up for the next mission, or like the fact that weapons were breaking all the time, like that I found so annoying. But that was because it was new to me. It's changed. I'm not used to it. I don't play a ton of games that have a lot of crafting systems. It's more like, there's your loot and stuff, and you can buy things in shops. But I think Horizon Zero Dawn was the one time that I was kind of like crafting just to make more arrows and shit.
Right.
But even then, I was buying things most of the time. I was leaning in that direction. I was like, I don't want to sit here and make a ton of things. Never got into like Stardew Valley or stuff. Like,
I think there is a game that I play called Icarus, which is another survival crafting game. It's kind of like a space faring situation, and you have to get the way that they have it set up is like you have to unlock all of your stuff with skill points, like all the recipes and all of these machines, and there are all these different things. Like you have to have a special forge, you have to have a mortar and pestle, you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to have a butcher's table, you have to have all these different things
to create like the different components,
to be able to do the different things. And it's just way too complicated at a certain point where you've got a base full of stuff and you're using, like, you have to go from one machine and craft a thing, and then you have to take that thing over to another thing and then process it a little more, and then you have to take it over to another thing and then process it a little more, and it's clunky. It's not
I get that.
It's just too much.
I think that like because I also played a game, Cult of the Lamb,
Mm-hmm.
a very fun. There's like roguelike elements of it. There are like the kind of thing almost like Hades where you get power ups and you're like building decks and stuff.
Right.
It has elements that remind me of Hades. And then there are also like this crafting kind of thing where you have your cult and you have all the different members, and it's almost like Sims in that way where you're trying to keep everybody happy and keep all their little attributes lined up and
gotta
stuff.
take care of the cult.
But there's a lot of crafting of like, okay, in order to reach the next level of your cult, you need to build, I don't know, a ritual site. Because it's all like demonic themed. So you got to build a ritual site to slaughter sacrifices. And so you need 20 pieces of wood. You need 30 pieces of ore. You need to do this, right? So then it becomes like a little bit of those like farming simulators. You're kind of doing a bunch of things, or almost like Animal Crossing, like any of those cozy games. It has that element as well. That I didn't mind from a crafting standpoint because it came down to a little bit of automation and like delegation of being like, you can get some of your cult members to go get wood. Like, and like your guy's job is just getting wood.
Right.
This guy's job is building the thing when the wood is done. You farm, just make food for people. You know what I mean? So I liked that because it like, and it got more complicated. The more cult members you get, the higher the things get. Stress. One person becomes a dissenter and they're like, we shouldn't join this cult. And you're like, you got to kill that guy immediately. Otherwise he's going to get the flock all fucked
out of here.
You gotta get this naysayer out of here. So it's so much. I genuinely enjoyed that game a lot, actually. Cult of the Lamb, not only aesthetically, they lean into the theme of like you're a cute, adorable lamb, but also like the spawn of Satan. Like it's so fun. I really highly recommend it. So sometimes crafting is good. Sometimes crafting can be a little tedious and boring and like more complicated than it's worth, right? And so I think that's the interesting thing when you bring it into a tabletop role-playing game. The same thing is true. There are times when it feels like part of the system, part of the world building, part of the situation. We get it, we love it. And then there are times where it spits in the face of storytelling where you're like, man, this just feels like work. It feels like chores. And it's like not fun. So I think that's where it comes down to is how do we incorporate crafting in a way that is like where you're not going, what is the point of this? Like just buy the items.
Right.
Or something like there, because there is alternatives. You don't have to have a game of D&D that has any crafting at all. But you can also lean into it very heavily. And so we're going to be talking about all those things.
I'm very
But have you heard of the Patreon? Have you heard of the Patreon, gang? Because the Patreon is fucking awesome. There's so many cool things on the Patreon. There homebrew items every week. There are extra homebrew at the higher tiers, bonus action episodes, Action Surge where you get to sit down and talk to all of the cast members or see them talk to each other rather because they're pre-recorded videos. But so many cool things. Check out the Patreon, link in the description. And on top of all of that extra content that you get access to, it helps us out a lot. So, hey.
It does. Hey.
And check it out. Back to the episode.
Yeah.
So, what is the point of crafting in either a tabletop role-playing game or a video game? Like, what is the point? Why is it even a mechanic that exists?
So in a lot of cases of where I've seen it executed well is it is a way for you to get items that you would otherwise not be able to get your hands on, is the way that I kind of view crafting in TTRPG and stuff like that. Like if I'm doing crafting in a TTRPG, it is because, hey, I want this thing, but I can't go buy it for one reason or another. Either I'm out of money or I'm out of whatever. The stores don't have it.
It's too rare. It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, I want this thing, so I'm just gonna make it. It's kind of where I'm at. I really haven't played a lot of crafty characters. I am very excited about our Pathfinder game that just picked up again last night because like his whole thing is crafting. Like all of my stat points
both of our characters
built around crafting stuff.
Yeah, I'm an alchemist, so like I get free crafting every day. A certain number of items. It's practically like spell slots. It's like
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, no, that game's gonna be wild when our two characters truly meet. Um, so yeah, I do think crafting exists sometimes because it is the path to get certain items that
Right.
can otherwise not be gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like it's providing a novel thing. You're getting something that you can't get any other way. That's one reason, 1,000,000%. The other thing I think is sometimes convenience, simply for the sake of like not having to run to a shop every 5 seconds or having to do that. You're on the go, you're traveling. You don't have the luxury of cities and strongholds that have crafters and shops and markets and all of
Right.
these things. And so you must craft because it is the only way. Not only is it convenient, but it is the path forward. I also think that it can just be simply like something to do. It's another thing for your character to do during
Yeah.
downtime.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that the flavor of it is something that can be fun, and that I also, is something fun to kind of play into and do with the downtime. Hey, I'm going to spend all my time poring over these books, and then I'm going to make this crazy sword,
mhm.
like just as something, a flavor for your character, if nothing else.
Right, because when you think of D&D, it has so much to do with the stuff, with the
Mm-hmm.
equipment, both magical and non-magical.
Mm-hmm.
It's your armor, your shields, your weapons, your spell books, your holy focuses or symbols or whatever, and then magic items out the
Yeah.
wazoo. Like D&D is about all of those things. And so, of course, it at some point is about the making of those things,
Right.
aka crafting. So, like, of course, it should come up at some point. You're gonna meet blacksmiths, so it makes sense to like
Be
just
able
go
to
the
do it.
one more
Yeah.
step and be able to have characters do it. Sometimes it can also be cheaper than buying the items. Simply crafting, making your own thing
Mm-hmm.
is often cheaper than going to buy the finished product.
Right.
It's why sometimes in the supermarket, if you buy a full chicken, bone in, fully bird, it's going to be a little bit cheaper than like when it's already cut and
Right.
deboned, right?
Right.
Like there's a reason for that. It's because you're paying for the work that took
Mm-hmm.
to get it from A to B. So
Right.
if you can teach yourself how to cut a full chicken and cut it into its parts, you'll save a little bit of money. You have to put the time into that,
Mm-hmm.
both the training of how to do that, watching all those YouTube videos or whatever, right?
Alton
Getting
Brown's
a
got a really
decent
good video
knife.
on it.
There are several chefs that have
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah. Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
Alton Brown, of course, one of them for sure. But I think I watched like a Thomas Keller one, the
Yeah.
dude who
But
owns
it's
French
it's
Laundry.
it's
But
it's pretty
there's so
much
many
all the
videos.
same.
But
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you still have to put the time into it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
up
You
the
gotta
first
learn.
couple
Yeah.
birds, no matter how many times you watch that video until you
Uh-huh.
get your hands dirty. So like, uh, but it is cheaper to do that
Mm-hmm.
given the time that you have to invest in stuff. But and then you already mentioned this one, but also it's easier to get rare items. There are
Yeah.
some times where that is the way to get those items.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've established that there is a time and a place to have crafting, there
Mm-hmm.
are reasons to put it in the game because, like, you know, the argument is like, what is the point of crafting? Can't you just give your players any of the magic items and or non-magical items that they would craft? And it's like, yeah, you could.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think the question comes down to like, what do the players want and what does the DM want? Do the players want to do crafting?
Right.
Does the
Right.
DM want to include crafting in their world building slash like thing? Because I can tell you as a DM, there are times when I love when the players craft things.
Mm-hmm.
I love the ingenuity behind it. I love when they're inventing new items or combining items in really interesting ways. Sometimes the rules of D&D that we'll go over hamstring me a little bit where I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, that's awesome. That's going to take your character 2 years and 20,000 gold to
Right.
make according
Right.
to
Right.
the
Right.
book." Sorry. Or then there are other times where they're making items that I'm just feasibly like, "What?" a grenade launcher, Megan? I don't know. I don't know if we can do that yet, but let's think about it in the future for sure. I love it for that reason. Crafting can be such a cool thing to build on to, of like,
right.
Here's an item that I retrieved off of a monster body part 5 years ago. And it's still in my inventory. And now I'm going to incorporate it here. Or I, start saving up items. Like I love the longer storytelling you can do with crafting.
Monster parts. Yeah.
It's really fun. It's extra work.
Yeah.
Both for the DM and the player. And so there needs to be communication of just like, hey, some delegation of like, who's keeping track of shit? Who's keeping track of the checks? Who's keeping track of the inventory and the time spent and the gold and all of the mechanics? Whose job is that? And that's different table to table. There might be some DMs who are down to take on that extra work. I'm not. It's the player.
Right.
You're crafting the item. I need you to keep track of your checks. Did you succeed last time? What did we roll on? What did we roll? Did we do this check? Did we do this? What did we roll?
Wisdom? What did we do?
You, the player, should know in my game.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've set that expectation. Because it's like, I just have too much going on and I can't keep track of all of this. I'll keep track of like,
fair too.
Yeah, like I'll keep track of like monster body parts to a certain degree because I use the same document. Just go to Google, type in creature loot 5e. The first one, it's one of the top ones, and it'll help you guys so much. It's so good. And then you just type in creature loot 5e Volos or Mordenkainen's, and those will also come up. And boy, howdy, there's so many amazing little things in there. Some of them are very overpowered. You're fighting like a not that high level CR monster, and they give you a magic item that's like, and then you can cast Wish, and you're like, no, actually not. Some of them are way too powerful, and you're like, I'm not actually giving this to my players. But you just like nerf things. It's very easy.
Yeah.
So crafting. You say you've played a character, because I know the Pathfinder character, there's a bit of crafting in the previous iteration, although some of it was like, I know you made crafting checks. I remember that distinctly. So you played a character that was like backstory wise, a blacksmith making armaments and shields and weapons for the, I don't want to, like survivors of this like hellish Dark Souls vibed city.
Right.
And now you're playing a little bit more of like blacksmith, part of a rebellion, resistance vibe, still making weapons and armor for your friends to be able to do the task.
Definitely, but more on the front lines rather than being like a survival. Everybody comes back to me and gets rearmed. I'm up on the front. Oh, your sword broke. The cool thing about this character is that he can basically just forge stuff in battle because he's got a connection to the elemental plane of steel and the elemental plane of fire. So I can just kind of reach out and craft things with the wave of a hand. It is super like hard on my action economy, but I can do it. And
yeah, it's impressive. It is very cool to be able to essentially fire and metal bend into forge bending, essentially, is so sick. I like that phrase too. That's actually a really cool phrase. Forge bending is a sick idea that I'm writing down. Okay. So the important thing is this. I have played in Pathfinder also an alchemist. In the first edition, yes, you're doing crafting. I've definitely done plenty of crafting in first edition as an alchemist, but in second edition, it's like even more so because they just changed how alchemists mechanically work. Instead of casting spells, you're doing crafting that kind of replicate some of the effects of those spells.
Right.
Instead of casting spider climb, I make a spider foot brew or whatever, but like it's the same thing. So like, I'm really looking forward to exploring this class more in second edition Pathfinder and getting into the crafting of everything. But I will say crafting can be a challenging thing depending on the context, because like sometimes it's like in the alchemist, very specific to Pathfinder example, I'm crafting in the morning. I have to craft my 8 items. I don't know what we're going to get into.
Yeah.
I may be like, oh shit, I wish I did another one of these things. Now, granted, I have mechanics to be able to like whip an extra one up or like do different things in case.
Right.
But it is hard when you have to be like, these are the spells I'm going to cast today. Like,
That is
imagine
rough.
having to like wake up every morning as your cleric and be like, I'm going to cast 3 healing words. I'm going to cast this many call lightnings. I'm going to cast this
wild.
many
That's
things.
the bit of
It's
Pathfinder
really
where
challenging.
we were talking about like changing characters or whatever, and I was like, I think I'm gonna stick to the martial class so I don't have to worry about these weird ass spell slots.
It is confusing, and in system by system spellcasting can be really complicated. Obviously, spellcasting is known as one of the more complicated parts of D&D for new people to kind of grasp, unless you've played video games that have something similar. But anyway, I think that like I've definitely done a lot of crafting in downtime. We had a wizard in our home game that had spells like fabricate and creation that kind of changed how crafting works entirely.
Right.
And it's always an interesting thing because anytime you Google crafting in D&D, you get one of two things. You either get all the articles, forums, Reddit posts about people's homebrew ideas.
Right.
Because they don't like the original systems quandary, or you get the original systems idea of crafting, which is usually erring on the side of like expensive, and it puts magic items at the value that the system believes they should be at.
Right.
Magic items are meant to be a rare thing. Even an uncommon magic item is still quite rare, and your players shouldn't be running into bags of holding left and right.
Right.
Most DMs don't play that way, though. Most DMs give away magic items pretty freely. It's something that we hear all the time. It's like the number one tip for new dungeon masters is don't give your players too many magic items. You're going to fuck up the balancing. So like, I think because the designers put magic items as like this incredible thing, and dungeon masters often don't. They're like, nah, you find cool shit all the time.
Yeah.
Every encounter, he killed a random goblin bandit. He had a fucking sun sword. I don't know why, but it's cool. And now you have one.
Yeah.
And so because of that incongruency, that disconnect, they in the books put all of these high things, like it's going to take you forever and we're going to go over it. But like, I think that's where the disconnect comes. And I think in 2020, between 2014 to 2024, improvements were made. Things were made more straightforward and just like quality of life things. But also, it still feels not fun to me.
Yeah.
Because of the time that it takes. And
the
because
time, is really.
I think you have to like, if you're going to stay true to these rules, either A, just expect your players to never do anything high level because the crafting just takes too long. Or you have to have a campaign that has like these time jumps or something.
Right.
And we'll go over it. So first starting off, just crafting non-magical stuff.
Regular shit.
Regular freaking degular. So the first up, what I will say, go back and check out episode 35, Toolkits 101. We go over all the basic toolkits, bring in some information from Xanathar's 2014, and bring it all together and just talk about the different tool kits that are available and the different things that you can use them for. In episode 63, we do Downtime 101. That episode's going to cover a lot more than just crafting, but crafting is something that we talk about in that episode. So I highly recommend going to check out both of those. But kind of to sum it up, it really depends on you having proficiency with the appropriate toolkit. Anyone who even helps you, hey, can I give them the help action? They have to also have the proficiency of that same toolkit.
Right.
If a specific tool is not listed, then the DM can determine like, okay, what kind of tool set are we using for this? Since one isn't listed specifically.
I want gunsmith tools.
Gunsmith tools. That'd be crazy. What would that even fall under? I don't even know. Blacksmithing, I feel like, is the closest, right? Like you're just forging, melting metal and putting it into ball form. Obviously, black powder, the introduction of black powder would then maybe be like its own proficiency if you were being specific, right? Because like usually firearms is its own proficiency in terms of weapons. But from a crafting standpoint, it does bear the question of like, could you just, that's like a DM question, genuinely. It would be like, they don't have it listed here. Would I allow blacksmithing?
Right.
Or would I introduce a new tool like gunsmith tools or something like that? Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. And the proficiencies don't have to necessarily come from like your origin feat or a feat of whatever. Like I know in our home game, Justin has allowed people to learn tool proficiencies over time by practicing or talking to an artisan or somebody and learning from them and being able to pick up those tool proficiencies
even like a book
elsewhere. Yeah. Or
like a book you pick up in a place, or in Sphinx City, I actually have a place. I can't remember what the place is called. But it's like a craft store that does almost like the way that like a community center would, or like an old folks home has like, hey, come on down Monday. We're teaching people how to crochet. And you could just like take a workshop to like get that one more notch in your belt to get that much closer to learning proficiency. Take enough crafting shop classes.
Right.
And now you're like, you know, like how an adult takes like a cooking class.
Yeah.
Like at your local community college kind of vibe. Like it's very community of like, you're a full adult. You're not here to like become a professional,
right?
Whatever. But like, I just need to be proficient in this tool. And I've set up even like shops that where you can get that done if you're there for long enough.
Yeah.
As a downtime activity to like, yeah, go take the local workshop. They're doing a class on this skill or whatever. But yeah, so
it's a lock picking workshop happening right up the street.
Right up the street. Crimes are us.
$10 to walk in and you get a free set of picks.
It's like that British Willy Wonka convention. Just like a total scam.
Yeah.
Like, you idiots, you thought Rogue convention was real. You dumbasses. That's so funny. So like I love the fact that they're making tool proficiencies matter. And so I like that. I also love, because I do like this a lot. I actually kind of take some notice of Pathfinder's view on this as well, of like, I do like restricting the help action. Not that this is specific to the help action, but like the idea that in order to help, like, because it is sometimes there is the little tiny part of me that gets a little rules lawyery every time someone's like, no matter what one player is doing, they're like, oh, and I'll help them, an advantage. And it's like, your character canonically isn't good at this skill. Like, how are you helping them do a thieves tools check? And every time, and Taylor, you've done this too, every time I cast the light cantrip, bright light, and you're like, that doesn't
I've done that
shit. I'm not saying it doesn't, like having light doesn't literally help. Is it so much helpful that you're like,
it's they're doubly as effective?
Yeah, like
at the check.
I don't know. So I do like that. Now, in terms of raw materials and all that kind of cost and time and stuff, you were about to say something?
Yeah. Because just thinking about it in real life of like, hey, I'm going to make a thieves tool check. Oh, I'm going to cast a help action. How are you going to help me? There's no,
exactly.
First and foremost, you have no idea what I'm doing. Second of all,
you're like, I'm just holding the flashlight above you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't need your light. No,
okay. Is this
your
good?
hand is in the way. It's in the no.
Sorry.
You're just in. It's just in the way. It's just put the light down. Walk away.
So, in terms of cost and stuff like that, you need the raw materials worth half of the cost of the finished product. So, for example, plate armor is normally 1,500 gold pieces. Instead, you would need 750 gold pieces worth of material in order to make that plate armor. Now, here's the interesting thing. I think it's an important note to put in there, because I think about stuff like this, because I have players who haggle.
Mm.
The 750 gold piece worth in my brain, that's not necessarily like what the players are paying. That is the value that you're getting. If the players somehow manage to talk down this ore salesman or whatever the fuck, this steel guy, who's just he's selling smelted steel for people. If they manage to talk him down to 600 gold, it's still 750 gold's worth of, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's just like an important little note that and that's the same is true for like things like any consumable material components. Yes. Revivify 300 gold worth of diamond. If you bought that gold, like that's a question between the DM. That's like an above board of like, hey, gang, just so you know, I know that your characters managed to haggle 150 gold for this diamond. It's still a 300 gold diamond.
Right.
So for spell purposes, write down 300 gold diamond, even though you paid less, right? Like I would still honor those kind of things. That's like a interesting thing just because haggling is so prolific in D&D.
Yeah. Prolific. That's
it's
infamous.
A good word. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it says that the DM determines whether those raw materials are available. Here's the thing. If they're making non-magical items, it feels weird not to let them have it. Obviously, there are times and a place. If you're in the middle of the ocean, I can understand being like, yeah, you didn't find copper like floating by. Like,
right. Yeah.
But like, if there's cities, if there's like, it depends on the setting, of course. But if it goes back to just communication. If the players are really trying to do this, then it's like, all right, you should make it a little bit easier for them to do that and to live up to their character's potential. But also, if a player is like, I want to be crafting, I'm going to be grabbing things all the time, and you tell them, okay, but I was planning a like sea voyage pirate adventure. Like, I'm down for you still to craft. Just understand that it's going to be harder to find certain materials.
Right.
There's a give and take.
Right.
Just as true for all classes and specific backstories and character arc ideas and stuff like that. So when it comes to materials, give and take. In terms of how long it's going to take to make that item, here's where things get weird. Because you divide the purchase cost by 10, round up to the nearest whole number, and that's how many days it's going to take. For example, a heavy crossbow is 50 gold. 50 divided by 10 is 5. It's going to take 5 8-hour days of crafting. That's too many days. Okay.
For a crossbow. Yeah.
For a crossbow, 50 gold. I'm sorry.
Crossbow.
So like, again, there's so many different factors that come into mind here. Like, what level is the party? Where are we? Where's the setting? Of course, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a world and a setting where this makes perfect sense and it fits beautifully and everybody's happy. I just haven't seen that world. Right? Like, I don't know her. Yeah. And I can't wait to meet her. But as of right now, I don't know her. And I can't wait to meet her when she's ready, when she's presented at the debutante ball. But as of right now, I've never seen her. She's just a myth and a legend as of right now. Because, like, again, heavy crossbow, 50 gold pieces, 5 to 8 hour days. The plate armor was 1,500.
Right.
That's 150 days of 8-hour work days of crafting this fucking item.
That's insane.
That's too many days for plate armor. I understand plate armor is expensive. Yes, you spent the 750 gold, half the price. Amazing. But then the amount of time, that's insane. 150 days? That's what?
Half
a third of a year, give or take. I mean, yeah, it's like a half, 365. Yeah, it's, 30 days short of a half of a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's unreal. Our players, like in all of my campaigns, this is something we've brought up so many times. I have a tendency of just playing days through, like being like, okay, you wake up, what's for breakfast, gang? And we're role playing that. And then it's brunch, and then it's lunch, and then it's supper, and then it's dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm going through every day practically.
Right.
The most I've ever done is like a week time jump, and it's downtime. And those are the downtimes, which means your player at most is getting 7 days in a row of doing anything. So what, $70 worth? Guess what, gang? By the time that happens, the players have thousands of gold. It doesn't even make any sense unless we're crafting brand new items, which we do.
Yeah.
I just struggle with this. Now, granted, our players in our home game, they're not necessarily designed to be crafters. We've worked towards some things, though. The one player bought the herbalism book, started reading the things, wanted to make healing potions a part of their thing. And I went a little bit too by the book, where it was like, yeah, it's even with all that knowledge, it's instead of 50 gold, it's 25 gold. And then guess what? It's still an 8-hour work day to make a single 2d 4+2 healing potion. And you guys are high enough level where it's like, that just doesn't make sense to do
anything anymore. Yeah.
So eventually you out level crafting entirely.
If you're going by the book, because if you're going how long it takes, because I mean, if you're wanting to make anything with any kind of rarity to it, we're talking months and months and months of work.
It's according to the book. According to the book. Now, if the item takes multiple days, according to the book, they do not have to be consecutive.
Right.
So you can divide the work among multiple days to shorten the time spent. And again, if you have people helping you, that also shortens things. So if it was 2 people crafting this, that 150 days does go down to 75 days. But that's still now 2 people who are dedicating 8-hour days. So like that person now is doing less things. And all of that, that's just non-magical stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten into. You want to make a +1 plate armor? Buddy. You know not what you speak. Because when we go over that, you're going to be like, what is the point? Why craft ever? Truly, I read some of these rules and I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah. Unless the time jumps are like, cool, see you in a year.
Yeah.
Like I am watching One Piece and they just did a 2-year time jump, but they didn't do that very often. There almost has never been a long time jump like that in One Piece. And I'm on episode 550 or something.
Kind of rare. Like you kind of, if you're planning on doing that deal, you almost want to bring that up right out of the gate. We're like, okay, the adventure is going to be, we're going to get a mission. You're going to go do the mission.
And then
we're going to have
time jumps.
A few months of downtime in game. And then you're going to meet back up and we're going to do another mission. And then it's going to be another few months. So that's the only real way that this kind of crafting works in that setting. And even then, still find it a bit of a drag.
Still a bit of a drag. Now, with the introduction of bastions, it speeds things up slightly, gives you more help, gives you different parts that you can build, but still like magic items are still like the exception. They're still going to take so long. Like even if you have this random crafts person, blacksmith in your bastion making a piece of plate mail, it's still going to take them 150 days.
Right.
Our campaign is over by then.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Our entire campaign that we've been playing for 5 years in world has been like 8 months, maybe. And that's just, I'm best guessing off the top of my head, but like, it's got to be like something like that. So like, what are we even talking about? So I do think it is really interesting how crafting looks in D&D. I think because they've introduced the bastions, they really are leaning on this idea of like epic long campaigns where you are this huge hero character, where you are following Odysseus's kind of story, this epic poem adventure where like Odysseus is lost at sea for like decades.
Yeah.
We're talking huge adventures here. And so I get it, but I don't think that is actually happening in games. I think if you were to poll every single person currently in a D&D campaign, the entirety of their story is maximum like 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I know that that's not true for everybody. There's going to be exceptions, but I just think, I don't know.
Yeah. Cause I mean, it's one of those things where, you want to get into the action and keep the action going. So trying to shoehorn downtime into your campaign can feel tough, especially when you know, like don't have like a hub or anything like that. Obviously, we're talking about bastions, so like bastions are a thing now. But other things, if like you're on the road heading and you go to do this mission and you find out that there's another bad guy in another town, you're not going to go home, rest for a little bit, and then go back to wherever this guy is.
Yeah.
You're just going to go to the next thing.
It's hard to, like, you have to really plan for stuff in a really specific manner in order to make those long stretches of downtime make sense, or even to make time jumps make sense. Because, like,
Yeah.
surely you could be like, okay, cool, time jump, we jump a year. What did you craft during that time is going to be like an entire 3-hour session of just rolling millions of dice to figure out what was possible during that time, how many things were crafted. Like, I just think it's almost more of a headache than anything else. Like, we've seen with the bastions, like the amount of things that you would have to keep track of when every single member of the party eventually gets 4 to 5 different specific special facilities, and then all of the different dice rolling that is included with that, the different actions that can take from the bastion, whether or not random encounters are happening at the bastion and like damage is being taken and defenders are being hurt. Like, there's so much. And it's like, dude, I just want to get to the story. I just want to follow the main plot. Like, I don't want to, I can't imagine, like, yes, there's time and a place for everything, of course. And like some of these campaigns, when you're playing these multi-year insane epic stories, yes, of course, there's necessity for downtime and respite and things of that nature. But like sometimes it's just like, yeah, we want to keep the stakes high. And it's sometimes hard to find a reasoning for the time jumps and for downtime. Because if the stakes are high, why are you having so much downtime other than like health reasons or something?
Right.
You know, we gotta rest. Or like you can do kind of what they did in One Piece, where it's like a power scaling thing of like, you guys just aren't powerful enough to go to the next stage of the adventure. You need 2 years to chill and train. And that's kind of explaining the 2-year break in One Piece. And so it made total sense. It was like, yeah, you guys just got your absolute asses handed to you. Every single member of the Luffy, of the Straw Hat crew, got their asses kicked. They are not ready for this. They needed the 2 years to just chill and fight.
Right.
And do like beat up people so that they can get stronger. So it is interesting. But now let's get into crafting magical stuff, because it only gets crazier. So, starting off with like healing potions, the most basic of magic items. We already kind of talked about this. So this one, you need the proficiency with your herbalism kit, 25 gold piece of raw materials, and 1 8-hour day of crafting. And that is a common healing potion.
2d4 plus 2.
Exactly.
Maximum 10 healing.
Yeah. So, I
Whichever
mean,
levels is fine,
Yeah, there's a time and a place for it. If you're doing a bunch of downtime breaks and stuff, if you have bastions and you have people crafting shit, then why not? But truly, yeah, it just comes down to how that all works. And then for scrolls, another big potential item. Although, again, I've not once spoken to or seen a single player in my entire career of D&D even talk about scribing their own scrolls.
Right.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I've never seen it. I've never even spoken to a player who has done that.
Yeah.
It's much more likely to just buy scrolls, find scrolls, and then for the wizard to copy some scrolls down. I've seen all of those things.
It goes the other way. Yeah.
I've never seen people making scrolls.
Well, part of it is what, coming down, we'll be talking about in a minute, is the actual monetary temporal type.
Speak on it, Taylor.
So first and foremost, for scrolls, you do need to have proficiency with Arcana or a calligrapher set, and you have to have the spell prepared, like in your prepared spells, every day that you're transcribing it. You also have to have the physical material components of the spell If it consumes them, like in the case of like Revivify, where it consumes the diamond after you use it, it will only do it after you've like the final little pen move motion that
It's
you
not going to
make.
be like 300 gold every day.
Yeah.
Like a
It's just
diamond is just
the final
consumed
pen
every
stroke
day.
makes the materials go away.
Exactly.
And then the spell is going to use whatever the scribe's DC and spell attack bonuses, which is really good for like high level casters and stuff, which would be, most of the time you find a scroll and it's like spell save DC is 13. Imagine picking up a spell scroll from your party's wizard who has a spell save of 19.
It's sick.
Yeah.
All of this is cool until we start getting into the cost and the time.
So the time and cost. So the scroll takes an amount of time and money based on the level of the spell. And for each day of inscription, you have to work a full 8-hour day. Let's get into the time and cost. So a cantrip, 1 day, 15 gold. First level spell, 1 day, 25 gold. Second level spell, 3 days, 100 gold. Let's skip on down to like say a 6th level spell, 40 days and 10,000 gold to write on a piece of paper. For God forbid you're looking for a level 9 spell, you want to bottle up a wish or something like that. 120 days, 50,000 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jump from 5th to 6th level is crazy cost wise.
Yeah.
Because it goes from 1,500 to 10,000 in terms of cost. That's insane. So yeah, it's like, cool. Are you spending 120 days making this fucking scroll for a single use consumable item?
Right. That's the other bit.
I get it.
Consumable.
Like, yeah. Most of the things that can store spells only go up to a certain level. So like, I get it. And usually that jump is 5th to 6th. And I think that's why that jump is there of cost.
I mean, 6th level
going up
spells
so much.
Yeah, 6th level spells are no joke.
It's because it's like general. It's normal to have like there's so many different abilities of like, hey, take a short rest and regain your spell slots up to 5th level, or like, hey, here's an Ion Stone that can store spells up to 5th level. Like it's usually there's some kind of limiter on a lot of things. Yeah. Well, I know our Ion Stone. I think there's higher level.
Are there better ones?
I think so.
There's better ones, Justin. There
might be.
There's better ones.
You'll have to make one. It's going to take you $30,000 and 3 years.
Okay.
So yeah, making scrolls is rough.
Taking a break.
Yeah, making scrolls is rough, but you can do it. And there might be a time and a place. Like if you're, resting for 7 days, hey, bang out a cool cantrip spell. Why not? Like if you threw out a sick Eldritch Blast and put it into a cantrip, high level warlock writes the scroll, gives it over to a different player who can just blast it out. That's pretty cool. I mean,
it is pretty cool.
Only 15 gold.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely some haggling to be done between player and DM on the topic of spell scroll creation. This is definitely one of those instances where 120 days is a crazy amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. Because of course, if you were to let your players just like create wish scrolls, like
right.
I understand the need to make the cost of entry high for those really high level things.
Here's how I would do it. I would allow them to go ahead and craft the thing, but then it's got a 120 day cooldown, or maybe not 120 days, but
only one wish scroll can be in existence at a time, or
something along those lines. I mean, there's definitely a realm where you can just go, okay, cool. Well, now that you've done this, just to prevent you from spamming the freaking wish spell, you're gonna have a cooldown on creating spell scrolls of 9th level. You're gonna have that type of deal.
Don't be a dick about it.
Don't be a dick. Yeah, just don't be a dick about it, and we can work something out.
Don't cast wish every day. Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree. There are a lot of conversations need to be had between player and DM. Speaking of which, moving on to the Dungeon Master's Guide, this is where you find the section on crafting most other magic items, scrolls, common healing potions, and the mundane. All of that is in the player's handbook. The rest of what we'll be talking about is in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Chapter 7, page 220. You need that Arcana proficiency.
Got to.
It's vital. If you and any assistants working on the project to craft magic items in this way, they got to have Arcana proficiency. I got to know about
magic to craft magic stuff? What?
I mean, they make it really vague. It's interesting to me only because of like, remember in the Bastion, they had like, oh, you can make this type of religious or divine tool or whatever. And there was like categories of magic items that were new to 2024. This is just magic items. And it's just Arcana across the board. I just find it interesting because of sometimes, and maybe this is like a setting thing that some DMs do. And so it's just like bleeding into my brain of like the difference between divine magic and arcane magic. And so the idea that a cleric couldn't make maybe a religious based magic item because they don't have Arcana proficiency, but they would have religion
like prayer,
and this
the prayer beads
something,
or whatever. Yeah, like that would be, I would allow like a religion style crafting check.
But if you're going by the rules, technically
you can't. By the rules.
So that's interesting.
Like that.
But it is what it is. Now you also need the tool proficiencies, and everybody is in the assistants also need to have those tool proficiencies. That makes sense. Spells, we've already kind of gone over this with the scrolls. It's the same thing. If the item is going to use Scorching Ray, you got to have Scorching Ray prepared every single day that you're working on that magic item.
Yep.
Now for time and cost, some things are the same. 8 hours a day is kind of the work day. The days don't need to be consecutive. So if it takes 100 days, you can split it up 10 days here, 5 days here, wherever. Now you can work together to shorten the time.
Okay.
If it takes 100 days and you have 2 people working on it, now it takes 50 days. Now, the interesting thing is that the book weirdly just goes, normally only 1 assistant is allowed, but a DM may allow more.
Okay, sure.
Hey, thanks so much for the permission, bud. But also, that's crazy because what do you mean?
Well,
I understand. It's just they're backing themselves up for power gamers.
Yeah.
They're trying to put in all these stipulations. It truly, at this point, Wizards of the Coast is just the substitute teacher who is collectively punishing everybody. They're like, well, that one kid shot a spitball, so no chocolate milk for anybody. And you're like,
yeah.
Well, fuck Daryl, first of all. He's an asshole. Just because he can't play well with others doesn't mean we should all get punished.
Right.
And that's how it feels a little bit.
It feels a little bit like that. It also kind of feels low-key a little realistic in my mind, in that imagine trying to like make a thing and you've got 5 other people jostling your elbows while you're trying to swing a hammer. It's like, God damn it, Larry, get out of the fucking way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with this hammer.
Well, it depends on what they're making.
That's true.
Because of course, if it's truly just like hammer hitting this item, then it's like, yeah, unless you do the like how Japanese mochi is made.
Oh, yeah.
One person. Yeah. That, 2 people. But that's what I'm saying is like, but also it's like, because it assumes an 8-hour workday, if you had multiple people, you could do things in shifts. The work ethic is still improved. Okay. So now you're working through the clock. Right. 8-hour shifts. Boom. This guy, Harold, works for the first 8 hours. Boom. Switches off. This guy, graveyard shift. Boom, boom, boom. You could have shifts. I don't know. I think that I understand why they do it. Nothing's going to be perfect because you're either going to make things too easy and now you have power gamers who are going to fuck it all up, or you make things so hard that the power gamers can't fuck up things. But now normal people who wouldn't have done those things don't want to do them because they're so difficult and time consuming, like it's,
I like the idea
of the classic problem with
because
D&D.
In my mind, that immediately takes it from only one assistant being allowed. And that's fine. So it's 2 people working in 8-hour shifts around the clock. That's 3 potential days cut in half and then all squished together. So I mean, really, that's a lot of work that could get done in that amount of time, because that's what 48 hours of straight work.
Yeah. So
and everybody still gets their union breaks. You still get your
still get your breaks, still sleeping.
Still get your long rest. Nobody's going home tired. We're not picking up any exhaustion points.
It's about the workers here. When you're here, you're family. And so moving on to raw materials for these magic items. Now, he is according to the book. According to the book, a city has 75% chance of having the materials. Doesn't say which materials, just the materials.
Any given magic item.
Just says the materials. Any other settlement, 25% chance.
Okay.
I think they're just giving you something that you can roll on a D100. I can understand that, but they're just arbitrarily making these things up and making up what is a city? How big do you have to be a city? I mean, I'm sure they have that in the Dungeon Master's Guide of this is what we are considering a city. Yeah, they're going to do some dumb shit like that. Absolutely. But the interesting thing is it says in the book, if you cannot find any raw materials, let's say you roll that D100, it does not come back favorably. Then you have to wait 7 days in game before you can check again. Now, I can understand that if you're in a town and you're like, hey guys, do you have adamantium? And they're like, no. Then if you just wait an hour and come back and go, what about now? They're going to be like, still no, dude. What? I can understand in story reasons that you can't just keep spamming. Being like,
right.
Do you have it now? Eventually being like, I'm going to turn this car around, Tanner. No, we don't have any. So it's I get that. I think it's funny that they put such a specific time period on it. And it's obviously there's so much hand waving, and some of this is very intuitive of just of course you as the DM can change some of this stuff.
On Thursday, then I'll have it.
Yeah, it's some of that does make sense. I get it. You could be a side quest of no, we don't have any adamantium, but I know where a mine is. Unfortunately, it's been abandoned because of the monsters that took it over. Yeah. Have fun. They have adamantine bullets there.
Oh, sick. Fuck.
Yeah. Heads up, dude. Fucking heads up.
Those are gonna be a rough day.
Yeah. So that's just raw materials. Now, if a magic item incorporates an item into its into its build, and that item has a material cost, for example, if you're trying to create a +1 plate armor,
right,
then you have to either buy that plate armor and have it as a material, right? Or you need to craft that also. So in this example, if you're trying to make +1 plate armor
from scratch,
you have to pay the 3,500 gold piece, which would be the total cost. That would make the rare magic item, and it would create the plate mail.
The plate armor, yep.
Or you can just pay 2,000 gold and craft for the armor. So you're crafting both of the items. So, but that means that it's going to take forever, because just the plate armor is going to take 150 days. And then on top, it's fuck, man. At that point, just buy the shit. What do we do? Just steal it. Just fucking kill a guy. Steal it, man. Damn, bro. The amount of times I've given away plate armor just by having enemies who have plate armor.
Right.
I'm sorry, but unless you're level 1 or 2, how dare you craft a single thing? Steal everything at that point. You're not looting enough. If you're crafting, you're not looting enough. That's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Crafting? No, dog. I loot. Why make what I can steal, dog? So yeah, I just think that makes so much more sense. I can
steal.
So for these magic items, crafting times and whatnot, a common magic item, 5 days, 50 GP.
Okay.
And as a reminder, common magic items are the cloak of billowing.
Yeah.
Something that literally does nothing except for a fun RP moment. So keep that in mind. All of common magic items are jokey items.
Pretty much.
Every once in a while, you'll find one where it's there's a world where this could be in the most circumstantial of situations.
Right.
This could work.
I got a handful of them in my in my loot.
Yeah, like there's Candle of the Deep. So it's
Mhm.
just a candle that the flame will exist underwater.
Yep.
And that's it. But like if you're without flashlights and
Right.
you're underwater, hey, it lights. That's cool. What's another one? They have the silent alarm, like the ear alarm
That's
one,
a
where
good
like you
one.
blow
Yeah,
into it and only one person can hear it. That one's like a genuinely good item, but it's very silly.
Yeah.
An uncommon magic item, your bags of holding,
Yep.
things like that.
Yep.
You're looking at 10 days, 200 gold piece. Pretty
Cool.
gnarly. Yeah.
It's not
Rare,
bad.
rare 50 days, 2,000 gold pieces.
Okay.
Very rare, 125 days, 20,000 gold pieces. Legendary, 250 days, 100,000 gold piece.
Blah.
So yeah, gets pretty crazy.
It's what's wild to me is that they didn't just go a year for legendary. It's 250 days. Like it's like I don't know. Why not?
They're just picking arbitrary, like random numbers at a certain point and just being like, well, 125 times 2 is 250. They're just like ballparking, I guess. But yeah, it truly is like one of those things where at a certain point, I just think the way people play D&D, no one's crafting legendary items. No one's crafting very rare items. You're finding them or you're buying them.
Right.
And because you're buying them, guess what? They're most of the time not costing 50,000 gold either. Like only Matt Mercer does that. And he backs it up because the players get dragon hordes and shit.
Right.
So he does sometimes make, like I've seen it so many times in Critical Role where like even something kind of what in our campaign would be like insane in his campaign is normal. For example, one of the players I think was trying to buy a ring of fire resistance. That's all it does. Just makes you resistant to fire damage. Now, of course, that's a very valuable item. I want to say it's considered rare. I think he was charging them like 10,000, 15,000 gold. Like it was something unreal. I remember at the time them being like, yeah, I think we might have to do this because I think we're going to the hells later. So like this might actually be an important thing for us. Like, fuck. And they scrounged their money together and they bought it. And it ended up being like useless. And everyone was making fun of Travis Williams' character for buying it because it never got used really. But really like, funny. That's the thing is like, he makes it, that's like a part of his setting and his world building. And like, it's all part of it. You expect that. But I just think that like it depends on how much you're trying to get into resource management on that level. Are we keeping track of gold like that where it's like really serious? And like, are we being really intense about with only 3 attunement item slots too? It's like,
yeah, how
what
crazy
are we talking
are you
about,
really
man?
Get? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that like by the time your
artificer.
character is needing or wanting very rare and legendary magic items, you're going to find them by killing people or through buying them. And by that level, you should probably have the money to be able to buy them, even if you're doing these insane prices. But yeah, I just really, I think D&D sometimes stabs itself in the foot when it comes to some of these numbers that they come up with. I mean, they're starting points, I guess, just to show some of the jumps, because it is true that like the very rare magic items, very rare is like Staff of Power.
Right.
So I get it. You don't want your players to be able to be amassing these magic items. You also don't want your players, but then you could be the dick about it and be like, no, you don't find the raw materials. No, you don't find this or whatever. Like the crafting day is crashed by monsters and fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's so many other ways that you can limit your players breaking the game through magic items and creating them and crafting them and stuff. It's very interesting because at the top of the episode, we talked all about all of the interesting and fun reasons we like crafting.
Right.
And then you read some of these things and you're like, 250 days,
Ugh.
fuck, man, I'm just not doing that. They've made the price of entry so high that I can't,
Well,
in a
they're
D&D sense, I'm struggling to find the reason for crafting. Other
yeah.
than it's a common tabletop thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
And
typical fantasy setting thing to have
right.
crafting. And so
Right.
we must include it.
But yeah.
But I don't see it really, like, other than maybe for the artificer, because the class is based around crafting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I just am kind of at the point of being like, I think you need to homebrew it yourself. I think you need to figure out your own ways of doing this.
Yeah.
But like, just to continue on, so when it comes to crafting, that's what the player's handbook and the dungeon master's guide for 5.5 have, pretty much breaking down like what works, what doesn't work, how we can change some of these things. Think starting off with raw materials. I think one thing is like, and this is true for all of these questions, is like, how much time do you want to dedicate to this?
Right.
Do you want there to be like a intensive thing of like, okay, you're looking for the adamantine, because you can also make it like the difficulty of finding these raw materials is proportional to how rare the item that the players are trying to make is. If they're trying to make adamantine armor at level 1, yeah, you can't find it. So sorry. Because that makes sense. That's crazy that you think you can find it that early. It's too rare for that. It's too powerful. Of course, you can't find the staff of power that early on in the game, nor can you afford it. Like, we're setting up some of these expectations. But I do think that like when you're using things like monster loot, man, the creature loot 5e, Google that. The documents there are incredible.
Having monster bits be part
because
of
then it's fun. It
item.
gives you like an extra thing to loot for, because there's some times where they're fighting monsters where you're like, no, the manticore isn't holding a bunch of gold because it's a fucking monstrosity that doesn't have pockets. Like, what?
Right.
But hey, here's some cool monster parts you can get at least. So that's always really fun. I also think that like it just gives you more opportunity to world build. Why does this town have this interesting raw material? Why does this place have this cool thing? It gives the players more opportunities to sell things and to interact with the commerce and the shopping of the world, whether they're using the monster parts as actual components for their own crafting or something, or selling them, or giving them to a craftsperson. Because that's the thing I also want to introduce into this idea of crafting and stuff. The party doesn't have to do it. You can have experts and NPCs do it. Hey, here's this cool monster thing. You think you might be able to, make a check. Okay, you rolled pretty good. You think it could make it into a sick magic item, but you would need leather workers' tools. Oh, you don't have that? Don't worry. There's a town. There's a guy. He could do it. So I think like, yeah, making raw materials readily available, you can make them their own part of the adventure and like an interesting thing of like, hey, you guys are already going to city A to go fight this dragon. Perfect. They also have adamantine there.
Hey, check that out.
You know what I mean? 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, when it comes to tools, I kind of think the way the book does it, where like you need the proficiency, the assistants need the proficiency. I actually think that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's good to go. I think it incentivizes tool proficiencies in a way that I think makes sense and I like, because I want there to be a reason for this things. We've talked about gaming set proficiencies and water vehicle and all this shit and bitched and moaned about it. So when you give it a reason, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, and I think it really does add to kind of adding to the immersion of it, of the realism of like you can't just have somebody who has no proficiencies in any tools just start whipping out +2 plate mail or adamantine armor, freaking cloak of displacement. It makes sense that you have to actually know how to use these tools, and I think again, it gives you fun RP stuff if you don't have those proficiencies to go out and get those proficiencies. It just it's another layer of you're gonna have to train under some people to learn how to do this.
Yeah. I think crafting has been based on the timing of some of these things and the amount of work that goes into it. Crafting is set up as uh, 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 a future term reward, a long term reward kind of thing. And so even if you're shortening the times and stuff, it can still be that. It's still, I want to make this amazing magic item or what have you. I need to learn the proficiencies of these tools. I need to learn this spell so that I can have it prepared every day. I need all the costs and the things that go into it. So I think that it can be a really cool thing with a big payoff if that's important for your character and stuff. Or you can just hand wave a lot of stuff and be like, yeah, I just need an NPC who's a master craftsman to figure this shit out. When it comes to time and cost, last thing I'll say is as long as it's in line with the rest of your economy, because I think this is where you got to be careful. If you're starting to homebrew crafting stuff and you're starting to hand wave a lot of cost and time, be careful because you're going to set up a dangerous precedent. Because what you're going to do is you're going to devalue magic items in your setting a little bit.
Right.
Or you could potentially devalue magic items. And then it's going to set up some like plot holes and kind of incongruencies, right? Where it's like, you still want it to be such a way that crafting an item should be cheaper than buying an item.
Yeah.
And so you're still trying to make sure that's true. Because if you start hand waving things too much, you're going to lead to potential breaking of the game. If you do make it too easy to create a magic item or a scroll or what have you, you do run the risk.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like,
absolutely.
But I do think, that it's insane. In all the games I've played as a player, as a DM, I can't imagine spending hundreds of days doing anything.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just, I've never even been in a campaign that lasted that long. In game, at least.
Right. Yeah.
Also out of game, probably, if we're being real. No, the Pathfinder game has been a really long time. And it's been close to 4 years, I think, for that one. But that's the exception. Right. But that's because it's with the same people as our home game, pretty much. And so it's consistent people. So it's the people, not the game. But as per always, Taylor, we're going to end our episode. And by always, I mean only for the last 2-3 weeks, maybe. We're going to end this episode with Monster of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
And sound effect of a werewolf. Like 1, 2, 3. And then a sound effect of a Dracula. Monster of the Week. This week. 1, 2. Monster of the Week. This week, guess what, baby? It's the Wolpertinger. That's right.
That for the listeners on the podcast.
I would love to, Taylor. Wolpertinger. That's a Wolpertinger. The Wolpertinger, one of the most famous cryptids of Germany, also found in Bavaria, kind of interesting, the forests of Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg. So like what you're looking at here in terms of Wolpertingers is a little bit of like a European jackalope in some regards. Okay. Right?
Yeah, I see it.
Because you got a rabbit hare type creature, a lagomorph, if you will. But that's where the description of being rabbit-like kind of ends, because right after that, you got these crazy fangs. It's got antlers. Sometimes it also has sharp claws or even like lizard feet or weird things or like bird-like feet. Some of them have wings. I've seen that a lot where they have straight up wings. So it's one of those interesting things where people have shown like proof. But just like the jackalope, it's very like, okay, you super glued some stuff.
Somebody had a little too much fun with their taxidermy set, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, and it actually looks pretty rad. This picture of
I know
on the link that you have there, the second one of the taxidermied. It's got the full, like 10-point buck antlers, but also seagull wings, and and fangs. Dude. It's got little fangs. Yeah.
So
Wolpertinger. How do we use the Wolpertinger in our everyday life, Justin?
I think the Wolpertinger is a great example of a beast and or monstrosity. I think it kind of doesn't matter where you place this one because it would be pretty. I mean, depending on how you did it, in terms of how strong you want to make this kind of thing, because you can make it more magical and whatever. But like if you were just kind of going base, like it's just a flying rabbit with antlers that bites. So it's like, okay, how strong is that actually? So I would make it a beast. I think it could just be a really interesting example of like a new terrain. Like we're in a new spot and that's one of the first animals you see and you're like, okay, we're not in Kansas anymore. Look at that fucking Wolpertinger. Alternatively, you can make it like an introduction of like you're walking up to Dr. Frankenstein's castle and you just hear like a vulture cry or like what you think is an owl, and you look and there's just one of these perched in a tree looking at you as you're like walking up to the spooky castle. Like that's kind of cool. Like this is an experiment, and now it's just existing. It's an invasive species maybe or something.
Yeah,
I think all of those
these Wolpertingers, they're freaking everywhere.
They're everywhere. You could also follow the lore of the Wolpertinger, where hey, you go into this new town. Everybody in the town is like, you guys got to watch out. There's Wolpertingers everywhere. We've seen proof. And then it's up to you guys to discover it's a hoax.
I like that.
I think that could be really interesting too. So there's so many different directions.
In the gang kind of mission.
Yes.
Old Man Jenkins.
It was Old Man Jenkins and not Red Herring.
No, that's
a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Anyway, that's all we can get into this time. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question at So You Want to Be a DM at gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us, and check out the Patreon, our Twitch, and the merch with a link in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye.
See?
Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nubmuffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Molly Adeza, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM.